And so welcome to the NAS5 stage, someone who's going to be a perfect end of this whole event this weekend, Ms. Lisa Grossmann.
Hi. All right. Tourist is backpacking through Ireland, stops in a pub. The only people in there are the bartender and an old man nursing a beer. He orders a pint. They sit in silence for a while, and all of a sudden, the old man hits the bar, and he says, "See this bar? I built this bar. I found the finest wood in the county. I loved it more than my own child. But do they call me McGregor, the bar builder? No." Points to that window and says, "See over yonder, that stone wall. I built that wall with my bare hands. I gathered all the stones, I placed them just so, in the rain and the cold. But do they call me McGregor, the stone wall builder? No." Points out the other window. Says, excuse me. Points out the other window and says, "You see that pier over yonder? I built that pier with my bare hands. I drove the pilings in the sleet and the sand and the tide, honed all the planks. But do they call me McGregor, the pier builder? Alas, they do not. But you just one goat." Storytelling is joke telling. It's satire. It's a way that we all connect. It's a way that we teach. It's a way that we remember. Information in and of its own self is wonderful in how to do things. But what connects people, what makes people want to be involved with things, is finding themselves in what they're looking at. When you go out and you do traditional marketing the way that I do, I've always felt that it was very easy, because the key to that was being interested, not interesting. Most people spend the majority of their time trying to figure out how to be compelling. What can I say? How can I present? What can I do so that people will notice me or think I'm fascinating or think I'm wonderful or love what I have to say so that they'll want to join me? What's people's favorite topic? Fine, exactly. So the easiest way to go about getting anything done is to do what people are not expecting you to do, and that's to find out about them. What's their story? Where are they at? Because when you know that, you know everything. And it really doesn't matter if people join you or not, because you're giving them an opportunity to be a hero in your story. Every time somebody looks at something that you're doing, or is willing to listen to something that you're doing, whether they say yes or no, they're giving you the opportunity to be better. People always say, how do you get the courage? How do you get good on stage? How do you get good at doing a meeting? I don't know if I'm any good today. I know I'm better today than when I did the first one. I know that if you go talk to somebody the 10th time, you're better than you were the first time. So if every one of those 10 people told you no, it doesn't matter. They helped you get better. I know that if you go out and you put out an ad, the 25th ad that you place will be better than the first one that you placed, because of all the people that didn't respond or responded negatively, because you learn. So everybody that you come in contact with, you are giving them a chance to have what everybody wants, and that's to matter, to be important. So the first rule of any good story, people are begging you, make me care. We all know that we live in a world where people don't care. They sit at home and they flip channels on television. What should I watch? And all of a sudden, something will capture their attention, and they'll stop. That's what you're looking to do. The only way that you can do that is to let people know who you are. Everybody's so concerned about finding what it is that's going to get people. You don't want to get people. You want to find the right people. And the right people are people that are going to resonate with who you are. Because great businesses are built by great teams and great groups of people that share values, share dreams, share vision, who come together to create something great and stay together to do so. I look around and I see all these people that are all caught up in making sales. Selling is important. You can't be in business if you're not creating revenue. But the most expensive thing you can ever do is find somebody new to do business with. And I don't care how many free clicks you do or how inexpensive you do it. Once somebody agrees to do business with you, that costs money, and if it didn't cost money, it costs a lot of time. They're already there. You know what the most valuable business you can do is? Business with a person who's already doing business with you. And that comes from somebody who relates to you that you relate to. That comes from community. And people relate with stories. You know, every great faith that survived the test of time has a book. What's the most popular book in the world? What's it filled with? All the lessons, all the morals come from stories. And what are those stories about? They're not about how everybody with no effort whatsoever jumps into the world, never heard of them before, and they suddenly sprung out of nowhere to become a great hero and have all this great success. And yet that's what we're all trying to do. I love when I see the story of, like Lisa Grossman. Lisa Grossman comes to network marketing, makes $1 million in a year out of nowhere. I was an overnight success after 11 years in the industry. I was an overnight success after going through something in my life that propelled me to be successful. My first 10 years in network marketing, I was about a $200,000 a year earner. My second 10 years in network marketer, I got to about $1 million a year. I didn't get 5 times better. I had 5 times as many reasons, 5 times as much fear as I had the first time around. I was comfortable the first time around. The second time, I was scared to death. I tried to figure out how I could get up and do storytelling without telling my own story, because I get tired of telling it. And I realized that really wouldn't be very congruent with the topic matter, and it really wouldn't be very congruent for you, because if you think about what we've seen here, and I've enjoyed this weekend so much, when you go home, you've gotten so much good information and you'll deploy it, but I promise you, what you will remember is the stories. Who could forget Rachel's story last night? It will be with you every time you think of this event. It will be with you every time you hear her name. It will be with you every time somebody tells you that a single instant can't be a defining moment and turn somebody's life around. We've had incredible, phenomenal speakers. Tim stood on stage and all he did was tell stories. He was easygoing, he was laid back. You know why? Because he gave you all a choice. The choice that comes along maybe once in a lifetime. The choice to partner up and be with world-class thinkers. You wanna know the difference between my first 10 years and my second 10 years? I look back now in the last 2 years of my life, world-class thinkers. You wanna improve what you're doing? There are a lot of people that can teach you 1,000,006 ways to learn how to do something. And it's important to know how to do things. It's important to be efficient. It's important to do them better. But let me tell you a little story about that. I'm old. You're all young. I get so jealous of all the youth. I meet these 25-year-olds. I thought I did great traveling all over the world, building this big organization, making all this money. I meet 22-year-olds. Yeah, I hang out at home, and I'm making about $1.5 million a year, and I don't follow up with anybody. This happened to be an event in this space. And I said, well, but what about all those people that don't take your offer? You follow up, you mail them, because I heard all this stuff. Are you kidding? I like to surf. And I can only do 2 hours a day, and I thought, how can he do that? But he's living his lifestyle. Back in the day when I was young, everybody wanted to know how to do things, just like today. How do you do this, and how do you do that? When I got into network marketing, how do you do this, and how do you do that? And you may not believe this, but when I was very young, I heard a rumor about this mythical, magical, incredible place where all of the knowledge of the world was housed. From the very best and most brilliant minds on any topic. And if you went there, you could have access to that information for free. And they even had these passports they would give you that would let you take the information home and borrow it. You could learn about the theory of relativity from Einstein. You could learn about gravity from Sir Isaac Newton. And it was called a library. And only 3% of the people had a library card. Then, as I got older, there was this mythical, magical box that sat on your desk, connected to this amazing thing called the internet, where you could get all of the wonderful information about all of the most, any topic in the world you imagine, from the most brilliant minds on the topic for free at your fingertips. And yet, everybody's running around saying, I don't know how to do this, and nobody will teach me how to do that. And today, you don't even have to be home at your desk. With this thing called a smartphone, you can, and Google, you can anywhere in the world that you are, get all the information for free from the greatest minds on the topic, from the gentleman at the back of the room. Ray Higdon, more content than anybody I know, for free out there. Diane Hockman, Michelle Pescasito, everybody that you saw up here. And yet everybody says, how do you do it? How do you do it? So it really isn't about information, is it? It's about thinking bigger, faster, and changing the way you're thinking. And how I learned that in the course of my life story, if I look back, was that I got the opportunity to hang out with world-class people. Fantastic, world-class people. People that were better than I was. People that I was not afraid to go ask for help. And I called them and said, you know, I'm good at business. I can fix your plan. I can help you. I can train your people. I can turn it around, etc. And they gave me a break. They let me come help. Over the course of the next 3 years, I threw myself into it. And one day an opportunity arose with the company that I was helping. They couldn't find anybody that wanted to go tell the story. I said, yeah, I can do that. In the next 10 months, I made $1.2 million. And I had the good fortune to meet, among other people, my partner today, Curtis Broom. That business took me all over the world. It put me on stages from China to Europe to South America to everywhere in between. The most exciting thing about that was not the money, although it was nice because I had debt. It wasn't the clothes you can buy and the cars and all the things we talk about on these stages. It was when you meet people and they come up to you and they say that something you did or something you said or something you impacted or your story made a difference in their lives, even though you've never met them. That's the payoff. And while everybody gets on stages and they talk to you about the headline, it is the stories that connect people. It is the stories that people relate to. Because everybody in the world, no matter who they are, and especially the people who do what we do, are in it to make a difference. Because the whole world is suffering from a disease called terminal comparison. We all have it. Everybody feels less than. Everybody feels not worthy enough. Everybody feels not good enough. Every one of you is sitting there looking at all these success stories, and there's a little voice that says, she can be successful, but I don't know if I can. They can have it, but I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I deserve it. You do. But the only way that you're going to be worthy and get what you deserve is to forgive yourself whatever it is and allow yourself the right and the freedom to step out of where you're at and step into people and a community that wants to believe in you even on the days when you can't believe in yourself. When you may have come here as an individual to learn how to do Facebook PPC or whatever all these things are, but what you're really doing, if you've really embraced it, is you've joined a community. No Excuses is a community, and that is the key. That's what marketing and business is today. If you really want to be successful, understand this. Products are commodities. There's not a single product today that a customer cannot find a viable alternative for if they don't feel that you made them feel good. Nobody cares what you do. Nobody cares what you say. Everybody cares how you make them feel. And in this day and age, anybody with a smartphone and an opinion is a publisher. And consumers have more power than they ever had before. And getting them to buy something is okay. If the product's not any good, the marketplace will take care of it, so all of the products are good. What separates good companies and products that are great today and not so great tomorrow, and people and companies of greatness, is the community. That's how you ensure your future. by being interested in other people. Now, the only way that you can do that, Diana and Michelle were talking about it, Tim was talking about it. If you can't go out and find out everybody's story, then you have to tell them yours. And they will relate to it if you're honest, and if you let them know through by being willing to allow them to see that it's not that easy. You don't need to have a story about how great you are. You have to have some success. But when you get the success, they have to know what came before it. You heard Tim's story. You heard Ray's story. That's what you'll remember, and that's what you relate to. You don't want to hear the story of somebody, gee, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth and I got all A's in school, and then I decided to do this where I rose to the top of my class, and then I went to this career and, I decided to do that. And then I decided I was going to be a skier, and I won the gold medal. And after skiing, I took up languages and I speak 5. It's interesting, and nobody believes it, and if they believe it, nobody believes they can do it. Does this make sense? Out of curiosity, what's the most valuable company in the world? Actually, today it's Google, but for a long, long time it was Apple. Apple is not in the phone business, are they? No. They changed the phone industry. And they're not in the music business, and they changed the music industry. Samsung makes a better phone, but that's a commodity. They make 600 phones a year, and they're always telling you the features and benefits of how great their phone is. Apple's about to introduce the 6th iPhone. It's not going to be as good as Samsung's new phone, and nobody cares, because Apple, what do people know about Apple? Steve Jobs is dead now 4 years. Everybody knows his story. And everybody loves Apple because Apple makes them feel good. Everybody believes that Apple is about them. Apple is about the user experience. Apple's best salespeople are the Apple customers. Apple customers stand in the rain around the block to get a phone they can order online and have at their home the same day, because they want to tell the story about how much they love Apple, that they stood in line at the store to get the phone. That is not a customer. That is a partner that is working on your behalf for free because you love them. Not they love you because you love them. Steve Jobs, people loved him because he let them see who he was. Stories are not a tactic you use to build your business. Your story is your business because it's you. And the strongest and best thing you have to differentiate yourself from everything out there is not what you are selling, it is who you are. Because if who you are is someone special, if who you are is a leader, if who you are is someone who is honest, if who you are is someone who is willing to let other people see, not that you're so good you can get on a stage or take up a platform, but that you are willing to get on a stage and let people see that sometimes you're not that good, you are a person people will follow. And if people will follow you, you can do anything, and you will never be obsoleted because this one changed their algorithm or this one changed that. That's what Tim and Ray and Fernie and Matt have been up here, and all of these instructors have been up here telling you for the last 3 days. They're here to give you skills so that you can go do something to be comfortable enough to step out from the pack and lead. And you lead by sharing your story and being interested in other people so they'll be interested in you and want to be with you and be a part of the community that you are inspiring. After I left that company 2 years ago, a very good friend of mine by the name of Eric Worre called me and said, Lisa, you've got to come to my event. And I speak at all of Eric's events, and Eric is my dear friend. I am not a speaker. I would speak at my own company's events, and if I was helping a company behind the scenes, occasionally I'd speak to their leaders, and I'd speak at Eric's events. But Eric called me and said, I'm doing this cold market recruiting event. And I said, Eric, now you have to understand, that's network marketing talk. And I said, Eric, I haven't had to put an ad in a newspaper in 20 years, don't want to, didn't really, I worked for me back then, but I don't have to do that anymore, and I don't want to do that. And he said, no, you have to come to this event. I got to the event because he asked me to come, and he's my friend, and I found out it was about internet marketing, at which point I wished it was about putting ads in newspapers. Because nothing scared me like the internet. But little did I know, it was going to launch a whole new chapter and a whole new career in my life. Because at that event, I met Jonathan Budd, and Dave Wood. I didn't get to see any of the speakers because Eric had my partner and I meeting all these people. I met Diane Hochman, who I'd been a fan of for years, and I met Dagan Smith, and I got to see one speaker speak. The only speaker I got to see was Ray Higdon, and Ray Higdon was a light bulb for me because Ray understands network marketing, so I understood what he was saying. Everybody else was speaking a language. I felt like if I took up Greek, I'd understand it better. And Ray was also talking about what he had done online. So I thought, well, gosh, it's two separate worlds, but maybe it's not a war. Maybe there's some commonality. And I met these wonderful people, and I was able to hopefully bring a little bit of value into their worlds and talk a little bit about community. And through them, at Eric's next event, I met these other incredible guys. Ray and Fernie. Actually, Ray introduced me after the event was over, and I had spoken at Eric's event. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool? And on some level, I wanted to speak. I felt like maybe if I could help, if I could impact more people, if I could bring more value, if I could change just one life. And these guys don't even know this, but they launched what has now become a speaking career for me, because this event last year was the first event that I ever spoke at for the sake of speaking. And since then, I've spoken all over the place, and I never know what I'm going to get to say when I get on stage, and today is no different, so I hope you're liking it. And it's amazing. So when Curtis tells you I'm not an internet marketer, that's true. But I have great relationships with a lot of people that are. And if you're world class, and because of what Ray shared yesterday, was he amazing yesterday? I mean, all of the speakers have been amazing. The content and the material is incredible. And I tell you again, you don't know how lucky you are to be surrounded by all these people. But what Ray shared yesterday was the first thing that I heard that I said, wow, I could actually do that. I could make a video and talk about the things that I've learned. Because I have no online presence. Everybody here says, I've been seeing your CDs, I've seen your videos. They're for other people, because I'm happy to do whatever anybody asks me to do, but I don't have any products. I don't have a list, and I don't have a web page, and I don't have a website, and that's all true. So anyway, it's amazing to me, where this is all led. Just because I happen to be world class at something, and you are too. And what I learned yesterday is if you're world class at anything, people out there want to know about it. And the stuff that these guys are teaching gives you the mechanism to be able to easily go communicate that with a larger audience, and build a larger community and impact more lives, get to more people quicker. And when you have the access to these kind of people, don't not take advantage of it. I have never missed an opportunity to get around somebody that was better at something than I was, or knew something that I wanted to know, and learn from them. And if all it cost me was money I can make, time I cannot get more of, and I would have paid the money and scrubbed the floors to get the ear of people that are as good at what they're doing as they are. Now, that brings us to how I got here today, and because my topic was storytelling, and I hope I got you a little bit about stories, I'm gonna close with one. Man's walking down a street. It's dark at night, late, raining. He's scared. All of a sudden, he trips and he falls into a manhole. And it's pouring down rain and lightning, and he is really starting to freak out. His name's Joe, by the way. And Joe's sitting down in the hole, and he doesn't like the dark, and the thunder's getting bad, and the lightning's coming up, and he says, geez, what if nobody comes? What if I die down here? What am I gonna do? And all of a sudden he hears footsteps. And he says, hello, 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 is anybody up there? And he hears somebody shout down, whoa, is somebody down there? And he says, is someone up there? Who's up there? And he says, oh, it's Father Murphy, me son, what you doing down there? And he says, I was walking home in the rain and I tripped and I fell, Father, can you help me? And he says, oh, of course I can help you, laddie. Takes out a pen, scribbles a prayer on a piece of paper, throws it down the hole, crosses himself, and walks away. Now Joe's really starting to freak out. He's like, what am I gonna do? Nobody else is gonna come. And all of a sudden he hears more footsteps. And he screams up, hello, 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 is anybody up there? And he hears, hey man, someone down there? And he says, yes, I'm here, I fell down here, can you help me? And he says, I think I can. When I get home, if I can remember where home is, I'm going to call the 411 people and I'm going to tell them to come back and get you if I can remember where here is. And he walks away. And now Joe's he's really starting to lose it. He's like, it's getting later and the thunder's getting louder. And just about the time he's ready to give up, he hears more footsteps. And he screams, hello, 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 is anybody up there? And he hears a voice say, Joe, is that you? And and Joe says, Frank, is that you? And Frank says, yeah, it's me. Joe, what are you doing down there? And he says, Frank, I fell. Can you help me? Please get me out of here. And Frank says, sure, I can help you, Joe. And he jumps in the hole. And Joe says, Frank, what'd you do that for? Now we're both stuck down here. And Frank said, Joe, I've been down here before. I know the way out. Take my hand and I'll get you out of here. When you're in a business like this, very often you feel like you're in a hole. You don't know what to do and you don't know where to go. Luckily, you are surrounded by the best of the best. They've been in the hole before. They know the way out. If you'll take their hand, Tim and Fernie and Ray and Matt and any of the instructors or the people that have been through the masterminds, they will show you the way. Have faith, listen, learn, craft your story, work on your masterpiece, tell your story to others, get out of the hole, be the guy who helps the next guy, and we can build an awesome community. Thank you very much. I love you all.
For a free 10-day online recruiting bootcamp to dive deep into rejection-free sponsoring methods using the internet, click the link above or go directly to elitemarketingpro.com/go. I'll see you there.